If you don't like what we tell you to believe in, we'll kill you.
All right, so I want to keep going with this.
Yeah, hurry it up.
That's what really lit the fuse to Dole Myers, a demographer at the University of Southern California, referring to the 2008 projection. People went crazy. It was not just white nationalists worried about losing racial dominance. Dr. Myers watched as progressives envisioning political power became enamored with the idea of a coming white minority. He said it was hard to interest them in his work on ways to make the change scenes less threatening or fearful to white Americans. For instance, by emphasizing the good that can come from immigration. It was conquest, our day has come, he said of their reaction. They wanted to overpower them with numbers. It was demographic destiny. This is fucking really interesting. So you tell anti-whites this, and instead of saying, well, let's figure out a way to get along.
No.
They say, no, let's fucking stomp the boot on harder.
Finish him.
And that's actually funny. So Dr. Myers was like, whoa, easy.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Myers is probably... Myers can often be a very name, and given who he is and where he works,
if you think about it, you only have to hold off that kind of enthusiasm until you don't have to anymore,
That's
right?
right. Like, you only have to hold it off for 10, 20 years or so, right?
Like, then it's like, all right,
then it's like, all right, now let fly.
Go ahead.
You do that.
You do.
Yeah, you do now. Dr. Myers and a colleague later found that presenting the data differently could produce much less anxious reaction. Of course! Remember, we did this already. We actually...
Anxious.
This is actually literally... It's literally the study we already talked about, but that's fine.
That's fine.
We did this, I don't know what show, but like 20, 30 shows ago, we already did this. Yeah.
Still fine.
They won't.
Go listen to all.
Or they won't. It doesn't matter. Presenting the data differently can produce a much less anxious reaction. In work published this spring, which we went over this spring, they found the negative effects that came from reading all about white decline were largely erased when the same people read about how the white category was in fact getting bigger by absorbing multiracial young people through intermarriage. So, but the thing is, they're not emphasizing that multiracial marriage stuff. What they're just saying is, no, actually, white people are getting bigger.
I guess they never mix, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Guess they never mix.
I said mix. I said mix. But okay.
I guess they never mix, huh? You got a mulatto. I guess he never mixed, huh? Mixed. Yeah, all right. No, we got it. Now we get it down. They never mix. They never bix. Huh? Whatever.
Steal your car like what rhymes with Wiz Khalifa?
Wiz Khalifa.
Steal
your car like Wiz Khalifa. I'm sure he steals cars.
All right. I mean, allegedly. This is satire.
Yeah, it's all a big joke. It's unclear exactly when the idea of majority-minority crossover first appeared, but several experts said it may have surfaced in connection with the 1965 Voting Rights Act. No, I mean, maybe it was another 1965
There's another act in 1965.
It's funny they don't even mention it. Miss Wallman, the chief statistician for the United States from 1992 to 2017. Whoa, how's she in there for so long? Who helped develop the first government-wide standard for data on race and ethnicity that came into use in the late 1970s, said she did not like having it categorized by race, but the government had to for oversight. I wish we didn't have to ask, she said, but to me, that's the rock and the hard place. Race is difficult to count because unlike income or unemployment, it is a social category that shifts with changes in culture, immigration, and ideas about genetics. This is all so interesting. There's so much. Oh my God, there's so much here.
We're going to do this now. What counts as white?
So who counts as white has changed over time? Blah blah blah. Let me just finish reading to get to the good point.
No, it hasn't.
So I want to get to the. Let me just skip ahead here. So.
Oh my God damn it, Frank Boas, really?
Yes, they bring up Boas, who has been proving to be a liar. So we'll put the link to this in the description, which we will. Alex is doing the description, so he better put the link. I'll send it to him. Okay, so let's just go to the end. So this is all them like talking about how do we talk about these statistics rather than changing our immigration policies and our demographic policies.
How do we make sure this goes off without a hitch?
Yeah, exactly. How do we calm people down about this? So the important thing to understand, we say this a lot, but every time it could be someone's show, and this is the most important talking point I want you to bring back to people. Demographics are not only destiny, demographics are policy. So these demographics are changing in our country, not because of some natural force that's irrepressible or some wave, some unrelenting wave that's just happening. It's a policy. And it's happening because we changed policy in 1965. For 1965, we had a different policy. And then we had a supermajority white country with a black minority. And I could have lived with that. A lot of people could have lived with that because you can deal with the black problem. You can. But we now have this whole crazy demographic shift, and we have it's not just blacks, it's people of all races and cultures. It's considered, we have diversity lotteries, diversity visas. We have everybody that's not white is considered morally superior to anybody superior. they're considered morally superior to those that are. We have this whole thing. So along with in order to do the demographic shift, they also have this ideological shift towards anti-whiteness, all this stuff. But the point is, it's a policy. It's a government policy. And therefore, it can be changed with another government policy. If you're moving thousands of millions of people to get whites, make them a minority, you can move thousands of millions of people to move it back. Okay? And if you're willing to, I remember how they talked about how in this one study, they're talking about how, they literally want to combat white majorities. They look, and when we were talking about the refugee people, the people that place refugees, how they have detailed maps of the countries in the United States and Europe, and they use these to select refugee placement.
That's how you get Somalis in Idaho.
That's how you get Somalis in Idaho and in Minnesota and in North Dakota and these places where they don't belong. And both in terms of population and in terms of climate, they don't belong there. So that kind of level of demographic planning is going into eliminating white majorities. That level of demographic planning can go into creating white majorities too. And it's not evil. If it's evil, then they shouldn't be doing it either. If they say planning a demographic situation in a country is evil, well then what are you doing? What you're doing is evil because they're planning it. They're not building a wall because they want these people coming across. They have legal aid foundations to move them all over the country to change the culture and voting patterns of different parts of the country, which is something they openly confessed to after Donald Trump won. They openly confessed, we need to get these people into Kentucky. We need to get these people into West Virginia. We need to get these people into those states that are deep, deep red and not changing. So they are demographic planning the downfall of the white race and our ability to project our will politically on purpose. So if that's evil to do, then they're evil. So let me read the last few paragraphs of this, and then we'll analyze them and go and get out of here. So William Fry, demographer at the Brookings Institution, argued that the Census Bureau was doing the best that it could at a time when society was changing quickly. He was skeptical that today's Asians and Hispanics were analogous to the white ethnic Americans, which was wow. Leave it to this guy. The Brookings Institution is the one who. Actually, I don't know if he's Jewish or not, but Brookings, were analogous to white ethnic Americans of the 20th century and believed that a less conservative count would not do much to change the bigger picture. So he's got it right. Besides, it is not the job of academics to protect people from demographic change, he said. I'm not asking to be protected by an academic. I'm asking to be protected by the fucking president.
You're trying to protect it's the academic's job to prect the demographic change.
Yeah.
From
It's his job to protect.
Ideas.
No, that's the thing. He considered it his job to protect the change, not to protect people.
Yeah.
It's the president's job to protect the people, and he's failing. Irrespective of the year or the turning point, the message needs to become about what the actual facts are, Mr. Fry said. We are becoming a much more racially diverse society among our young generation. Others say they are not sugarcoating statistics, but showing that the numbers have many interpretations of the white versus everyone else is only one. It not only reduces the American patchwork to a crude, divisive political formula, they say, but perhaps more important, with the categories in flux, it might not even be true. Bullshit. It is true, and it is white versus everyone else. Because that's not just that thing, and we didn't create that. They created that. William Fry knows that they created it. He's just doubling down on it.
The white supremacists are American citizens.
Exactly. We are.
They have to alter that drop.
The Census
It's like
Bureau...
the white supremacists are merely American citizens at this point. They're just white American citizens.
The Census Bureau released new projections this year in March filled with data about the country's future. In the coming decades, adults 65 and over will outnumber children for the first time in the country's history. The share of mixed-race children is set to double. But there was no mention of a year when white Americans would fall below half the population. When asked about the change, spokesman for the Bureau said, it was just getting back to sticking to data.
Wonderful.
But that is data. The year in which you project whites to be a minority, or a plurality rather, or less than the majority, shall we say, because we might not even be plurality. We might actually not be a plurality. At some point. At some point we won't even be a plurality. At the moment we're 49.9%. We will be a plurality, but we might not be a plurality after that. That's data. So what you're actually doing, that change is political. The whole article is about how that change to the census reporting is political, and it is political. It is political. William Fry doesn't like it because William Fry is one of the boot-on-neck people who's like, William Fry likes it. He's with Brookings. He fucking loves it. And he's like, no, these people aren't white. No, when you try to tell people, but I'll give him credit for honesty. He's like, look, if you try and tell people that Hapas and mulattoes are white, you're a liar. Because they're not.
Based.
But also then he's like, no.
Did he have
But
an
on
account
top of
at
that, it's a great thing that they're not. No, but he's right.
I
But
know, I'm
he's
just
saying it's a
joking
good
around.
thing. He's like, no, they're not. That's why we want more of them.
Yeah.
So there's your
All right.
as usual. And see, when they print things like this, and then you get people that say that we're like hallucinating or we're insane or there's something wrong with us. No, they look at this article and tell me there's something wrong with my politics. There's not. And this whole, I want to reiterate the final point because this is a very powerful rhetorical point.
Well-
It's a policy. If making one race superior or one race not in power anymore through the use of politics and demographic policy is a bad thing, then they're bad people. If it's not a bad thing, then we can do it too.
Well, the implication of the article is it's not that this isn't happening. It's your attitude about it is what's problematic.
Yes, obviously.
Your
that's
attitude,
the big
like, you're
implication.
fragile. Like what's wrong with you that you don't want to lose power? Like it's never.
But they
I mean,
themselves
it's
admit
almost-
that there's a
it's-
whole
it's almost
contingent of people out there that can't wait to step on our necks.
But they're looking at it as like as a partisan struggle between two parties in a political system. They're not looking at this as like
Life and death?
like an entire race of people who had power won't anymore. Like they're saying like you
There's
should
also
be.
an assumption there's no value to whites. So
Yeah,
there's
well, there's
they're
all-
like nothing of value is lost.
Well, that's also like they're denying that there are power relations between people.
Which is wow. Postmodernism.
Yeah, like there are, but they say there are none because
Yeah.
because the only reason
They have
being,
to.
the only reason being a white minority would suck would be if there were power relations that they always say that there are. They're the reason
Yeah.
that white people suck is
There
because
are
of power
power-
relations. But
there
so
are
it's like
power
therefore, so it's like which is it? But it's like basically it's like
you know,
whichever
you know
one
who,
is
you know who
expedient.
else denies power relations?
Oh.
Jordan Peterson.